Okay, My Sweet Audrina, Part 2. Music begins again. Life became very different in our house after Mama's death. I no longer went to the cupola to find peace and solitude. I sit in the once dreaded rocking chair, where I could feel that Mama was near, because life was opening up for me more and more. I paid little attention to Vera, who had difficulty climbing the stairs. When it rained, she limped worse than when it was dry. Still, I couldn't help but notice she was beginning to be very concerned about her appearance. She washed her hair every day, curled it, polished her nails so often it seemed the house smelled constantly of polish remover. She pressed her slips, her dresses, and sometimes even her sweaters. Even her voice changed. She tried to speak softly, and not shrilly as she used to. I realized in many ways Vera was trying earnestly to imitate my mother's many charms, when I thought they belonged to me only. The fall days that had seen the last of my mother soon shortened into winter. Thanksgiving and Christmas were bleak celebrations that made my heart ache for Papa and me. Even Vera looked sad when she stared at Mama's empty chair at the foot of the table. When Papa was working, I was alone in the house of enemies, a shadow of what I used to be when my mother lived. I clung to her memory desperately, trying to keep her image sharp in the vagueness of my numerous memory. Never did I want anything about my mother to sink into those bottomless holes in my brain where all those awful forgotten memories struggled to reveal themselves. Papa kept me almost a prisoner in our home, clinging to me with a kind of desperation that made me pity him, love him, hate him, and need him too. I wasn't supposed to be seeing Arden at all, but quite frequently I managed to slip away at the cottage in the woods. Whenever I had the chance, I was at the grand piano trying to figure out how to place my hands, how to make a tune come magically from the keys. For hours and hours I banged away before I began to sense the piano resented me, sour, ugly noises I made. I couldn't play. Even if Mama had tried to teach me a long time ago, I hadn't inherited any of her talent, any more than I had inherited talent from the first and best Audrina. Not gifted, not gifted, I went around tormenting myself. Audrina, Arden comforted me one day, no one magically automatically knows how to play. Listen, I said, I'll tell Papa I just have to have piano lessons. He'll pay for them if I plead hard enough. No doubt, he answered, looking away uneasily. Then hand in hand we walked toward his cottage. Much to my disappointment, Billy stayed at the window, but still didn't invite me inside the cottage. Arden and I sat on the back porch and talked to her through the open window. Flies could easily enter her house, and that would have driven my aunt crazy. Billy didn't seem worried about flies, but she did seem happy to see me again. That very evening I approached Papa about music lessons. I've heard you banging. If ever anyone needed lessons, it's you. Of course your mother would have been thrilled. I'm thrilled too. I couldn't believe he'd changed his mind so completely. He seemed lonely, bored, making me step closer to put my arms around him. Maybe after all, Papa was going to try to let me be happy. I'm sorry for all the ugly things I said after Mama died, Papa. I don't hate you or blame you for her death. If only you'd bring Sylvia home. I feel she didn't die for nothing. Please bring Sylvia home soon. My darling, I will. As soon as the doctors give the word, you'll have your baby sister. I told myself that night that perhaps God did know what he was doing when he took away mothers and gave fathers a new daughter. Perhaps he had a good reason for doing what he did, even if he did rob me of a mother I desperately needed. Sylvia wouldn't miss her because she'd have me and wouldn't know any better. It was midsummer before the music teacher Arden knew came from a long stay in New York City. Finally, one wonderful day, Arden put me on the handlebars of his bike and rode me into Whitefern Village to meet Lamar Ramsdale. He was tall, very thin, with a high, broad brow and wild, curly, chocolate brown hair. His eye color matched his hair color exactly. He looked me up and down approvingly, smiled, then led me to his piano and just asked me to demonstrate what I already knew. Just fool around like you said you've been doing, he said, standing behind my shoulder as Arden sat down to smile encouragingly. Not as bad as you told me, said Mr. Ramsdale. Your hands are small, but you can scale an octave. Did your mother play exceptionally well? That's the way it began. Of course, Papa knew that it was Arden who rode me to him from the village, but he didn't object. But don't you play with him in the woods. You stay in the view of his mother at all times. You are never to be alone with him. Never, you hear me? Now listen here, Papa. I began facing him squarely. Arden is not the trashy, low-class kind of boy you think he is. We don't meet in the woods, but on the rim. His mother sits in the window and talks to us. We're seldom out of her sight, and she's so beautiful, Papa. Really she is. Her hair is dark like yours, and her eyes are like Elizabeth Taylor's, only Billy's eyes are even prettier. And you've always said no one had eyes prettier than Elizabeth Taylor's. Isn't that nice, he said cynically. Nobody is as beautiful as Elizabeth Taylor but Elizabeth Taylor. People are individuals, Audrina. Unique, each one of us. A miracle, each one of us. Never be duplicated. Though this old world of ours may spin around another 5 to 10 billion years, there will never be another Elizabeth Taylor, another Lucilla Lana White Bernadette, another you or another me. That's exactly why you are so special to me. If ever I am lucky enough to meet a woman as beautiful as your mother, and as warm and loving, then I will fall down on my knees and thank God. I may never find another like her, and I'm lonely, Audrina, so lonely. He was lonely. It showed in his shadowy eyes and his loss of appetite. Papa, Billy's really beautiful. I haven't exaggerated. I don't care what she looks like, he said. I'm through with wives and married life. I'm devoting all my energy to taking care of you. Oh, I didn't want him to devote all of his energies to taking care of me. That meant he'd never give me any freedom. And that meant he spent all of his time trying to turn me into the first and best Audrina. And if he really believed there was only one of each person, why did he always want me to become her? I stood before him, his hands still on my waist. And I couldn't speak up and say any more. I could only nod and feel confusion whirling like a maelstrom in my brain. Since Arden rode off every day to the village, I was allowed 5 weekday lessons, which made me think I'd soon make up for lost time. For 1 solid hour, I stayed with Lamar Rinsdale and really tried to retain all he taught. According to Mr. Rinsdale, I was an exceptional student with great natural ability. I wanted to believe he was telling the truth, not just flattering me. Just keep me coming back and paying his fees. Arden would hurry back from delivering his evening newspapers to pick me up when the lessons were over. Late one night, 8 months after Mama's death, I stole downstairs and again practiced on Mama's grand piano. His tone was so wonderful, so true, much better than the cheap piano teacher my teacher used. Before my music lessons, I hadn't even noticed it had a tone. As I sat there in the dead of night, playing my simple little piece, I closed my eyes and pretended I was Mama. My fingers were as skilled as hers were. But it didn't sound wonderful. My music didn't send chills down my spine as hers had. Discouraged, I opened my eyes and decided I'd better keep a close eye on the music and try not to improvise. That's when I heard a small sound behind me. I whirled to confront Vera standing in the doorway. She smiled at me. You are so wrapped up in music all of a sudden. What's he like, Mr. Rinsdale? He's nice. I don't mean that, stupid. I heard the girls at my school say he's very young, handsome, and sexy, and a bachelor. Uneasily, I fidgeted. I guess he's all of that, but he's too old for you, Vera. He wouldn't look at a kid like you. Nobody is too old for me, but everybody will be too old for you, sweet Audrina. By the time you escape Papa, you'll be creaky in the joints and wearing glasses to match your gray hair. The worst of this was I knew every word she said was true. Papa was latching on to me more and more with each passing day. In all ways but bedroom ones, he was making me his wife. In fact, I listened to his stock market talk with far more tolerance and understanding than Mama ever did. And my aunt had no patience with that sort of boring talk. I'm going to make Papa give me music lessons too, said Vera, glaring at me hard, and I knew she'd give me hell if she didn't have her way. The very next morning, Vera was dressed in her most becoming clothes. You do everything for Audrina, and nothing at all for me, she said to Papa, and it's my mother who cooks your meals and cleans your house and washes and irons, and you don't pay her anything. I want to study music too. I'm every bit as sensitive and talented as Audrina. He stared at her pale face until she blushed and turned her head half sideways. I need some beauty in my life, too, she said. Once a week for you, he said grimly. You go to school and have lessons to learn. Audrina can have 1 class a day to keep her idle mind out of trouble. Why, beauty must truly run in the Whitefern family, just as everyone in the village, is what Mr. Rinsdale said. I don't think I've ever met 2 prettier sisters. It seemed to me Vera's fingers gripped his hand so that even when he wanted to stop shaking hands, he wouldn't let go. Oh, I'm not nearly as pretty as Audrina. I only hope I'm half as talented. I had to stare, really stare. This girl talking to Mr. Rinsdale wasn't the Vera I knew. He liked her, I could tell that. He was grateful for another student, especially one who flattered him and couldn't stop staring at him. Whenever she could, she was picking lint from his suit. On the way home, she confided all she knew about him. He's very poor, a struggling artist, they say. I've heard he composes music in his spare time and hopes to sell his songs to some Broadway producer. I hope he does. Then you don't hope it nearly as much as I do, she said. The months passed so swiftly by without Sylvia coming home that I grew more and more apprehensive about my unknown and unseen little sister. I knew my father had taken my aunt once or twice, but not once did Papa allow me to go with him. He took me to the movies, to the zoo, and of course to the first Audrina's grave, but Sylvia was still out of bounds. Papa refused to bring Sylvia home no matter how much I pleaded. It was over a year now since my mother had died and Sylvia had been born. Surely she's weighing over 5 pounds by now. Yes, she weighs a bit more each time I see her. Probably she's not blind, without arms or legs. Everything's there, right? Yes, she's got the right parts where they should be in all four limbs. Same female equipment you have, but she's still not strong enough. She's not exactly normal, Audrina, but don't ask for more details until I'm ready to give them. My thoughts about Sylvia kept me from feeling good. I longed for her as I dusted and pushed the vacuum. Vera couldn't vacuum because it made her short leg ache. She couldn't dust because she had little control of her hands, and she dropped what she picked up. That also excused her from sitting or clearing the table. I did every one of those chores. I even made all the beds, which was one of the duties my aunt insisted Vera do. Perhaps because she was grateful, Vera seemed to like me more. Trustingly, I tried to treat her as a friend. How's your music proceeding? I hear you're practicing like I do. That's because I practice at Lamar's. I told him you wouldn't let me use your mother's piano, and he believed me. She giggled. He's so handsome, he sends chills over me. I guess he is, if you like his type. Not your type, huh? I think he's exceptionally handsome. He told me all about himself. I bet he didn't tell you everything. He's 25 years old and graduated from the Juilliard School of Music. Right now he's composing a musical score for some play he's writing, too. He's sure he'll sell it to a producer he met when he lived in New York. I'm hoping and praying he does sell his music and he'll take me with him. Oh, Vera, Papa would never let you go with him. You're too young. It's none of Papa's damn business what I do, is it? He's not my father, and he doesn't own me like he owns you. And don't you dare tell him I've got designs on Lamar Rinsdale. We're just as good as sisters, aren't we? I needed her friendship and gladly promised not to tell Papa anything.